let us welcome with a round of applause Mr. Anurag Navalde, Global Head, India GSI's Blancco Technology Group, who is all set to spill the beans on data sanitization, the unsung hero of cybersecurity. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. It's no doubt an exciting day going on with all the great keynotes which we've had. Plus, of course, the election results, everyone is following up. And today what we want to do is, I want to add some more excitement to it, for which I've requested a guest speaker to come. But I must say it's a bit of an unusual guest speaker. Or I would say the guest speaker would not even speak. It's a bit of an unusual thing which I'll reach to in a couple of minutes. Before that, my name is Anurag Navalde and I represent Blancco. And I've been in Blancco for about 8 years. But today, what we're going to talk about is something which I've never spoken or never tried. I wanted to do this for a long time, but this is the first time I'm doing it. And the reason is because I don't know much about this topic, data recovery. We are into data eraser, which erases data, but I'm going to talk about data recovery for a few minutes. And this is where our guest comes in, sitting right at the center. If you see, I have these 5 hard drives. Used hard drives, I must say. This is a click which I had taken about a week back. And the interesting thing is how I have got these hard drives. I got these hard drives from an IT asset disposal company, which would probably be working with most of your organizations. So a place where once your IT assets get old, these companies come and pick up the devices and then maybe redeploy it somewhere else. So the interesting thing which I wanted to cover today is it possible for a layman like me in data recovery to recover something out of this? So when I got these hard drives, the first thing which I did is I downloaded a software called Rikua, which is into data recovery. And like I said, I don't know much about this topic. So this was a free version which I downloaded. And then of course I tried to run a few scans with a very simple user interface. What I found was this. So this is the results of the hard drive which gave me the highest amount of data. I could recover about 95,000 odd files from this used hard drive, out of which 77,000 files had been fully recovered. And this wasn't the only hard drive. That is an important aspect to note. Even in the other 4 hard drives, there was a certain level of data which I was able to recover. Now, if you think about this, this doesn't give much insight in terms of what's happening over here. So I tried to deep dive a bit more to analyze this recovered data. Again, with my lack of skills in data recovery, all I could do is I just took a bunch of images and I looked at it manually. So I again got thousands of images, so I couldn't look at every image. Most of them were very innocuous, like maybe an icon or something else. So what I did is I just took all the images, filtered them based on size, and had a quick analysis on that. What I got was this. So first was Form X5, which is used by the HR department to understand, to basically during the exit policy. Then I found an invoice. Of course, I've blurred out most of the things which are confidential. Then I found a few design templates of a possibly proprietary application which the previous user was doing. And then I found a law firm. Again, I have hidden the name of the law firm for obvious purposes. And then there was a cooking workshop for all. Maybe someone utilizing it for personal purposes. So in my opinion, it was not something which the previous user wanted that it reaches to me. And this was just from a single hard drive. I couldn't analyze all of them because, again, it was taking a bit of a time. What we have seen over here is with very basic recovery tools, all I did is I reached out to an ITAD, which is into B2B space only, meaning it doesn't work with consumers like me and you. Then I chose 5 random hard drives from there. After that, I downloaded a free version of Rikua to do that, and I just filtered it based on the largest PNG files. And still I was able to get some data. So the point which I'm trying to make over here is if there's someone who has professional skills in this domain, what that person would hypothetically do, he would have access to hundreds of ITADs with almost every organization in India. And they could do a targeted approach. All the hacker or the cybersecurity or this guy has to do is to find out when you need to target your organization. For example, you're working with an XYZ IT asset disposal company. What you would do is, when is the IT refresh happening? If that person knows this time, he can do a completely targeted approach, maybe repurchase 1,000 hard drives from that IT asset disposal company. And of course, that person would have access to forensic tools, not someone like me who would just utilize a free tool. And they will scan all files. They're obviously not limit only to PNG, the largest image files. And in my opinion, this would give results which would not be as mild as the results which we saw with my recovery project. If we just take a bit of, why does this happen typically? So what I'm trying to say is a very big statement. I'm saying that for most organizations, we have a lot of security layers, but you have your hard drives in a second-hand market, which if someone just gets access to, they can get data out of it. So it's a pretty big statement to say with a lot of gravity. We have been into the market for almost 25, 26 years, and the reason this happens is due to the risk of chain of custody. So if you look at it, this happened with the Japanese local government. After they have used hard drives in a server, they handed these hard drives to a leasing company because, of course, the lease time was over. And then the leasing company outsources it to a disposal company. In this case, one of the employees from the disposal company steals a few hard drives so that they can sell it into an outside market on an e-auction site. And when this happens, the person who stole didn't necessarily target your data, but the possibility of recovery is very high, as I showed in that. And again, there are more and more cases which are coming like this. 2 years back, this happened exactly with Morgan Stanley. This is the public report for you to understand a bit more. The thing which happened is a data center decommissioning project had happened in Morgan Stanley, and they asked someone to pick up the devices, a movers and packers company, who in turn gave it to another organization who resold the hard drives, and then of course they were fined almost $60 million for this, just because their data erasure process was not properly aligned. The root cause, in my opinion, is that firstly, we need to understand this economic aspect. You may have used a laptop or a hard drive for 3, 4, 5 years, and for you it is of not that important. So you would ask an IT asset disposal company to just come and pick up those devices. But that hard drive still has some value of maybe 500, 600 rupees at least, because if it's an SSD, it would be much more. And we need to be cognizant about this fact. It commercially, it might not be a decision for you, but the guys who would be handling it, if you allow people to maybe find the gaps in this process, that is going to happen, like I validated it till now in the presentation. And there's another root cause in my opinion, 2 root causes. The second is, 10 years ago, if I was at this stage doing this presentation, I wouldn't have been able to recover the data which I did. So the whole point of how data recovery techniques have evolved and how they have advanced allows even a layman, and maybe it allows the expert much more tools to recover data with the existing data destruction processes. So what are these existing data destruction processes? Typically, an organization would maybe format, shift, delete, and we still feel that we have up to an extent stopped the data from recovering. But I think by now it's very clear that data can be recovered if you're still depending on these methods. Second is physical destruction, maybe degaussing, lower level formatting is still trusted by many organizations. And this is where the chain of custody issue comes in. You can ask a third-party vendor to pick up the devices, maybe destroy it in front of you, or take it in their office. The issue is, how are you going to verify whether it's happening for hundreds or thousands of hard drives across tens of offices? And fourth issue is, even if you have a method which is verifiable and something which is completely destroying data, you do not have a way to have a single dashboard. In the last few presentations I saw, the importance of you being able to see it in a single dashboard is extremely important. Most of the processes do not have that handshake, that the data has been destroyed, verification is there, and then it's talking back to a dashboard where you're able to showcase that the data destruction is happening the way it is supposed to be. So these are the issues or inadequacies of the current methods. And of course, till now we have discussed about the problem, how real it is, and what is the gravity of it. It is important that now, for the next 6 minutes, we spend time on what is the solution for this. First thing is that when you're talking about data sanitization, now I'm getting into a topic which I know about, which our team knows about. first you want to do is you want to have a software-based wipe so that you allow the hard drive to be reused through a sustainability standpoint, but at the same time you are also verifying every hard drive, whether the data has been erased or not. And then of course you want to have an erasure artifact, a proof, which is completely system generated, and that is the key. You can't let people take these decisions. You want to standardize the process, you want to remove the risk, you want to have a process which is completely system driven. So this erasure certificate, again, in my experience in 8 years, I have not seen many organizations thinking about how it should be. Here I've just pointed out a few differentiators what NIST says. This is not Blancco specific or any vendor specific. This is what is required when you can guarantee data destruction. This erasure certificate should then be set up in a way where no one can tamper it. Because again, if you allow me to do that, I will tamper this, I will put maybe a serial number and I can sell this hard drive. So you should have a process where the erasure happens, the certificate is automatically generated, it goes to probably a server, and from that point you get a dashboard visualization that the job is done, not just in a single office, not just for a single laptop, but across all the devices in your organization. And this is the next point. In terms of capabilities, it is important that whichever system you deploy, it should not just target maybe only laptops or servers. Any data bearing device can cause this issue. Starting from a printer to a pen drive to a laptop, server, anything which is having data, you should have a solution which supports everything. And it should, of course, generate these reports automatically and go to a central console. So for the next 4 minutes, I want to focus on how the process would look like if you professionally deployed. This is how it would look like. This is a easy to understand, but a complicated process. So these are your offices, office A, B, C. And typically when you want to perform a data erasure, what you want to do is deploy an MSI package through maybe an ITSM which you are using. This is an automatic process, so you're not waiting for people to do it. It would happen as a part of the process. Once that is done, it should generate an erasure remote automatically. Again, no manual intervention. That would go back to a central console who can talk to ServiceNow, or it can talk to any other ITSM as well. So this is a process where you remove all the gaps. You're not depending on the economic factors, you're not depending on the other root cause of whether the process can destroy data. Those points are fully covered. And just to let you know, ServiceNow, Blancco is the only company globally where we have a registered application on ServiceNow. So I have not spoken a lot about Blancco, but this point itself speaks a lot in terms of the number of erasures which we have done across last 3 decades almost. And finally, this is the last slide for me, is that, of course, there are going to be a lot of layers. Information security is about layers. But is it really worth if we are not doing the basics right? We are setting up everything, but the hard drive is going outside with data on it. So, in my opinion, it is very important to get the basics 100% right. You should have your data erasure process implemented to the T. With that, I'll just take a minute to introduce our team. We have Praveen, Megha, Priyanka, Anchal in the stage. We wanted to keep and focus on the problem over here. So we are at booth number 21. Feel free to understand where we can explain how things work. But yeah, that's all we had for today, and thank you so much for your time.